You know, we use words all the time, every single day. But how often do we really stop and think about the tiny but powerful differences between two words that seem almost the same? Well, today we're going to do just that. We're not just building a vocabulary list, we're sharpening how we see the world by exploring 20 words and their fascinating nuances.
I mean, really think about that for a second. It's one thing to know what a word means in the dictionary, right? But it's something else entirely to really get its emotional weight, to understand the right context to use it in, and to see how it stacks up against other similar words. That little bit of nuance, that's the secret sauce to powerful communication.
So, to make this all a bit easier to follow, we've grouped our words into 4 main themes. We're going to start with our inner world, feelings. Then we'll move on to our social lives, look at how we figure out what's true, and finally, we'll tackle the big words we use to define the world around us.
Okay, first up, let's dive into the incredibly complex world of human emotions. These are words that help us pin down those feelings that can sometimes be so hard to describe. Resentment. This is that long-lasting, simmering, bitter feeling you get when you just can't shake the sense that you've been treated unfairly. It's part of a little family of words. The verb is to resent something, and if you feel that way, the adjective is resentful. You'll usually hear it with prepositions like at or for. For example, you might say, he felt a lot of resentment for being overlooked for the promotion.
Now, this is a fantastic comparison because it's really about your head versus your heart. Concern is the logical part. You can have a concern about the environment. It's a rational awareness of an issue. But worry, that's the emotional, anxious feeling that takes over. You worry about a loved one's health. So one is an observation, and the other is an emotional state.
Okay, so let's look at 3 words that all kind of mean being okay, but on totally different levels. Picture it like a pyramid. At the very bottom, the foundation, you've got welfare. This is the basics: food, shelter, safety. Then you move up a level to well-being. This is broader. It's your overall state of health and happiness. But at the very top, the peak, is wellness. And this is the cool one. It's not just a state you're in, it's an active choice, the conscious pursuit of a healthy life.
Mindfulness is basically the exact opposite of running on autopilot. It's that quality of being totally present, right here, right now, and just being aware of the moment without judging it. The noun is mindfulness, and the adjective is mindful. And if you're looking for its opposite, that would be forgetfulness. A pretty common way you might hear it is, she practices mindfulness to reduce stress.
All right, so we've looked inward. Now let's turn our attention outward. This next group of words is all about our social interactions, how we connect with people, how we support them, and sometimes how we get in each other's way.
So, what's the deal with these two? Here's the key. To console someone is an action. You give a friend a hug to console them after a breakup. Condole, on the other hand, is a much more formal expression of sympathy. You'll often see it with the preposition with. For instance, a government official might condole with the families of the victims. So you console a person directly, you condole with them.
Think of these 4 words as a scale of interruption, from mild to severe. At the very bottom, you have annoy. That's like a fly buzzing in your ear, just a slight irritation. Take a step up, and you get to bother. This is when you cause someone a little bit of trouble. Then you have disturb, which is more serious. You're actually breaking their peace or their routine. But at the very top is trouble. This isn't just an interruption anymore. You're causing real distress or anxiety.
Swap is just a great casual word, isn't it? It means a simple two-way exchange. It's in the same family as more formal words you might know, like trade or exchange. But swap feels friendlier. You might say to a coworker, "Hey, I'll swap you my donut for your muffin." It's easy, informal, and everyone knows what you mean.
Okay, for our third section, we're shifting gears a little. We're now looking at words that are absolutely crucial for understanding the world. Words we use to establish facts, to prove something is real, and to make things crystal clear. People mix these up all the time, but the difference is actually pretty straightforward. To authenticate something is to prove it's the real deal. Think of an expert authenticating a famous painting. To authorize something, though, is to give it the official okay. Your boss authorizes an expense report. See the difference? One is about truth, the other is about power.
And here's another pair that can be tricky. To certify means to officially say that something or someone meets a certain standard. A mechanic is certified to work on your car. But to verify is much simpler. It just means to check that something is true or correct, like when you verify your phone number for an app. So certification is about meeting a standard, verification is just about confirming a fact.
Honestly, clarify is a verb we could all probably stand to use a little more. It just means to make things clearer, to remove the confusion. When you ask someone for this, you're asking for clarification. That's the noun form. In a meeting, you might say, "Hang on, could you please clarify what you mean by that?" It's all about getting on the same page.
Bias is this powerful thing that works directly against clarity. It's a prejudice, a tendency to lean one way or another that messes with our judgment. If a report is influenced by this, we'd use the adjective and call it biased. You'll often hear it used with prepositions, like towards or against. For example, the article was clearly biased in favor of one political party.
All right, we're heading into our final section. Here, we're looking at the big picture words, the labels and categories we use to organize our world and figure out where we all fit in. So, our next word is a really important one, and it carries a lot of weight. It describes a very specific and destructive kind of prejudice that, unfortunately, is deeply rooted in many societies.
It's really important to know that misogyny isn't just casual sexism. It goes deeper. It's a rooted dislike, contempt, or prejudice against women. The adjective for it is misogynistic. It's a heavy term, for sure, and it's used to describe systems, attitudes, or actions that are hostile towards women.
This little table breaks down a whole family of words really nicely. A residence is the place you live. A resident is the person who lives there. An area full of houses is residential. But then you have citizen, and that's different. That's a legal status. It comes with rights and responsibilities. It's an important distinction. You can be a resident of a country for years without being a citizen of it.
And for our last group, let's clear up 3 words we use all the time to talk about the past. Former is usually about a title or role someone used to have, like the former manager. Prior means something that was scheduled before something else. You might have to cancel plans because of a prior commitment. And previous usually refers to the thing that came right before in a sequence, like the previous page in a book.
And that's really what this is all about, isn't it? Understanding that subtle difference between concern and worry, or between authenticating and authorizing, or knowing you can be a resident without being a citizen. Choosing the right word isn't just about sounding smart. It's about thinking more clearly and seeing the world with just a little more precision.
So as we wrap up, here's something to think about. We've gone all the way from our own feelings to the way we structure our world. The next time you're talking or writing, which one of these words will you reach for to make your point just a little bit sharper, a little bit clearer? It's pretty amazing what the right word can do. Thanks for joining me.